What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. My name is Jeff Rose, and we've got another edition of One Take. Minimal editing, just want to make sure that I get you the information. It's been a crazy, crazy week. We've got coronavirus going on. We got the market taking a dump. We've got people being quarantined, people not being able to leave their house, grocery stores being raided, people loading up on toilet paper. It's been insane. And one of the biggest announcements this week is this stimulus package that keeps being modified. The initial announcement that came out earlier this week from the Republicans was a $1 trillion package, which is a lot of money. But the key part of that, which most Americans cared about, was the stimulus check that we all would be receiving. And initially it was reported that they were trying to get every single American $1,000. Did a video on this just a few days ago. Many people had questions, are you eligible? Do you meet certain requirements? How do they know who actually is going to receive a check? And since then, there has been some updates on that plan, which I want to share with you today. But real quick, let's just go dive to the computer. And as I was just saying, the Dow Jones, man, it's been a crazy, crazy week. Right now, at the time it's recording, so it's Friday, about 30 minutes before market close, and I'm just curious if it's going to get worse or get better. Looks like we're hovering around down about 500 points again. We're below that 20,000 threshold, and it's just crazy to see where we started. So just 30 days ago, the Dow Jones was at 29,219, and point drop, that's about 9,800 points. Percentage wise, we are down 33%. Y'all, I don't know if you realize like how crazy this is. To be down 33% in 30 days, like that's crazy. And I know that your 401ks have seen this, your personal investments have seen this. If you didn't watch my video that I published earlier today, talking about the 401k and just giving you some numbers just to show you why it's so important to stay invested, be sure to check that video out. I'll have a link in the description as well. But just talking about this 1 trillion with a capital T economic stimulus package. And this is, I'll have some links to this if you want to check this out on your own. But once again, like the big question is like, who's eligible? How much is it going to be? And I actually want to use this article here. So this is from CNBC, and really just gives some really good figures on what this looks like. As I mentioned just the other day, the initial announcement was talking about getting $1,000, but now they've actually increased that to $1,200 per person. So that means if you are husband and wife, each of you could get $1,200 for a total of $2,400. There are some income restrictions, and this is how that looks like. So right now, if you make over, basically $75,000 is the cutoff. So anything from 0 on up to 75,000 means that you qualify for that $1,200 check. And you are completely phased out at, I believe it was $99,000. We'll just say $99,000 completely phased out. So what that basically means, if you make over $99,000, sorry, you're not getting a check. I'm sure you're probably going to be okay with that. So that's that. But now for joint husband and wife, you can make on up to 198, or I'm sorry, you start getting phased out at $150,000, you're completely phased out at $198,000. And how that works, I believe I read this over here. Basically, for every $100 that you make over and above that phase out limit. So if you make 75,100, for every $100 that you make over that, you lose $5 off that check. So that's how that works. Now, some people also had questions. What about kids? Like, what if you got dependent children? Do you get anything for that? And yes, you do. So what they're proposing is $500 for every dependent child that you have. So anybody that's living at home that needs you. So for example, if my wife and I were making below that $150,000, we've got 4 kids, then that would be an extra $2,000 that we would get for each child. But right now with us, we would be phased out, and that's okay. More other people in need need this, so this should help out. Now, probably one of maybe the biggest complaints regarding this is for low income Americans right now. So the way that it currently reads, low income Americans with at least $2,500 of qualified income, but who do not earn enough to pay income tax, they get a smaller benefit. I guess they get something, but they only get $600 individually or $1,200 for couples. That's that's just a little frustrating. And yeah, I know they're not making a lot, but I mean, these are the people that are probably more in need of it. I would like to personally see that different. And if you want to check out a really good article, I think this was on slate.com, and it was, it's kind of bashing it. But one of the things that it did make a point is that if you haven't filed taxes yet, so basically this is, how do you know if you qualify? This is all based off of your 2008 tax year if you haven't filed your 2019 taxes. So you got to be in the system. So if you've not filed taxes or they don't know you exist, then they can't send you a check. But if you are an individual, lower income, and you haven't filed taxes, well, you can file taxes for 2020 and then you can get the check. But right now, this has been rumored that this is going to be releasing sometime at the beginning of April if this gets pushed through. So for those that haven't filed taxes yet, by the time you actually file your taxes, submit it, I mean, it's just going to be too little too late. That's kind of what this Slate article talks about. But once again, I mean, that's also, you haven't filed taxes. So they can't find you, they can't send you a check. Now, this is all put forth by the Republicans right now, still has to be approved, by the Democrats, approved by the Senate before this actually gets pushed through. But as I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, something like this is going to get pushed through. Like, there's no doubt. I was reading, or just actually watching this video talking about unemployment, how unemployment numbers have skyrocketed over the last week. I think there was over 70,000 new unemployment claims. Here it is, jobless. Yeah, 70,000 from the previous week. I mean, that's just in 1 week, but man, we are just at the beginning of this coronavirus outbreak. California just announced they've shut down. You can't even leave your house right now. We live in the state of Tennessee. Right now, we can move about for the most part. I mean, most people aren't. Right now, schools are closed for the next 2 weeks. We're pretty well anticipating that schools will be closed for the remainder of the year. Yay for homeschool. Got 4 kids. That's going to be fun. But what they're saying is this is just the beginning. Next week, these numbers should just go up. I mean, I don't know if they're quadruple, but they're just going to keep going up and up and up. So many people are saying yeah, this is great. This is basically a Band-Aid to a bigger problem. But nonetheless, I know many of you are interested and curious how this is going to work. So just want to kind of break down what that looks like. So once again, as a recap, if you are making $75,000 or less, you will get up to $1,200. If you are married filing joint, you both can get a $1,200 check up to $150,000. Over and above that $75,000 mark individually, or $150,000 jointly, is when you start to get phased out. So if you are single and you make more than $99,000, ain't getting nothing. If you're married and you make over $198,000, you're not getting nothing. And if you do have dependent children and you are not over those income limits, then you do get $500 per child. Now, once again, this still has to be approved, but this is how it's shaping out right now. All right, y'all, hope you have, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Obviously, if you found any value out of this and you want to share it with somebody, please do. And if you are new here to the Wealth Hacker channel, please subscribe. I've got more content, been producing a lot of content over the last few days. And since I'm basically quarantined in my house, I'll be producing a lot more content, helping you make more money, build wealth, preserve your wealth. All right, y'all, Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.